Assalamualaikum, and I hope you guys well. So for today, I'm going to teach you guys on numerical data analysis. In this topic, we're going to discuss. I'm going to introduce you guys to different type of data analysis, and also I'm going to introduce you guys in detail type of data that usually you guys collected, or the type of data. Although I know that you guys collected most the data yourself, but then again, you guys need to know the data they collected, what category are they, what classes are they, what kind of data you get or you obtain. And then once you have collected your data, you guys need to know the dimensionality of your data. So by all means, we're talking about how many conditions do you have, how many treatment, and are they required the data coming from different types of assays, or is it coming from the retrospective data? Then after that, once you have all your data with you, you understand the nature of your data, how many dimensions, the type of your data, and then we're going to summarize the data to make it presentable and make it more understandable for the others to look at. Okay, so in the data analysis, there are three types. First one is the exploratory data analysis, descriptive, and inferential. Exploratory data analysis, also usually we call it EDA. The whole point for EDA is to discover pattern. We want to find the consistency in the data. We also want to find the anomalies in the collected data. Usually when we do the EDA, we do early on before we do the descriptive and the inferential analysis. Okay, so the whole point for the EDA is usually you use EDA for a very large data. For example, the transcriptomic data or genomic data, any from a system, but any from data that are huge. For example, like required like several columns, like thousands of columns, hundreds of columns or rows. And usually in the EDA, we visualize our data in a form of distribution to get a picture of association, to get a picture whether is an outlier compared to the others. Okay, so the most common approach in the EDA is we tend to use the heat map, and then the heat map, box plot, and the MVA. Okay. And then followed by descriptive analysis. Okay, which you guys could call descriptive analysis or descriptive statistic. Okay, so as its name, we use the descriptive statistic is an approach to describe your data. Anything that you can describe the data that you collected in the form of graph, chart, or even remember that when we teach you guys previously using mean, median, and mode. Okay, and there are many forms. As long as you could describe you could summarize your data into much more simpler and more understandable for the others. Okay, and then we have the inferential. The inferential is once you collect your data from you collected your data from the population, a sample of your data. You put a sample from the population, you analyze, and you got your data out, and then you want to infer back to the population. So in this instance, when we do the inferential statistic or inferential data analysis, we tend to looking at the objective why we collect the data from that particular population. Okay, and the whole point at this stage, we're looking at to test our hypothesis, and also once depends on the outcome, on the type of analysis that we use, it would infer back to the population. Then to now come across with the t-test, ANOVA, which I've been taught you guys previously in the lab session. And then afterward, we have the standard error mean, for example, and then correlation and so on. Usually what we did is we took a sample from the population, and then we looking at our data. So usually when we took the sample, we took sample by chances, or how much we could take. It depends on we tend to take the sample in random order, or we just pick any individual along the sample among in the population. Okay. In the descriptive statistics, when you looking at the data you collected inside the sample, okay, from the sample. Okay, so you either use chart, as I mentioned, you use the dot plot, bar chart, or trend, or pie chart. And besides using graphical approach, you also could use the standard deviation, the mean, and the mode. Okay, I will talk this further detail later on. And then, if the inferential statistic is when you want to make inference, you want to describe the sample that collected, you want to infer to the population that you collected. Okay, in this instance, when you want to infer from the sample, want to infer to the, but if you want to infer back to the population, we call it the inferential statistic. Okay, the most common approach is the type of data analysis, statistical analysis is the hypothesis testing, t-test, correlation, and the standard error mean. Okay, it is important for you guys to be aware of that for the descriptive statistic, being used both in the exploratory data analysis as well as in the inferential statistic. This lesson, we're going to discuss two types of data analysis only, the descriptive and the inferential statistic. We're not going to discuss the exploratory data analysis. In summary, there are three types of the numerical data analysis: EDA, exploratory data analysis, descriptive statistic, and inferential statistic. When we're looking at those three different statistical analyses, okay, we could not physically put a line or map or borders at which technique or analytical tools that considered to be EDA, descriptive, or inferential. It's more on the efforts that being used during our analysis, and also we need to, and the approach or the objective when we do the analysis. If you are looking at the data, you want to find the anomalies. If you want to find any form of outliers and a pattern early on, then we are doing the EDA. If we are making it from the data obtained, if we are creating graph to make a summaries, and then we using some sort of mean, we use median, standard deviation, they will pretty much fall under the descriptive statistic. Our objective is to infer back to the population. What we are actually doing is we are doing the inferential statistic. So it's more on the efforts rather than putting a line, okay, these tools is considered to be the EDA. This type of analysis is considered to be the descriptive, or this type is considered to be the inferential. Okay, so when we talk about the approach or the tools or the technique in the statistical analysis, it's always depends on our effort, the time that we spend, and our goal when we do the data analysis. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.